Okay, today we will have Christopher to talk about how to study computer science and in high school and college. Okay, because in recent 1-2 years, the college admission has become much more difficult than before. So there is a growing anxiety among the students and parents. So we try to kind of have Christopher to talk about the topic of how to go to a CS program uh, and also how to become successful in the CS program uh, in the high school and college. Okay, so this is the topic that we will talk about today. And so this is the topic we will talk about today. And first, actually, let me go over the experience of Christopher, okay? Because before other students come in, okay? Before other students come in, okay? I have Richard, okay? Let me actually admit them to come in, okay? Okay. Before everybody come in, let me introduce my son Christopher, okay? Some of you are familiar with him, but some you don't. Basically, Christopher started computer science in 7th grade, I would say. First lesson that he actually do is actually the Python language. He learned Python language in 7th grade with his brother. At that time, his brother is, I think it's 10 or 11th grade summer, okay? Maybe summer or the 10th grade, moving on to 11. And he studied Python with me and his brother. We actually get started at that time. And the AP Computer Science principle and the AP Computer Science A course material that I have actually is created for my elder son, Eric Jr. When he's high school, don't have the AP Computer Science A program. So we kind of created a curriculum for him, and then we get started from there. Okay, so and Christopher get started at that time, and then 8th grade he take the Java language, and 9th grade take AP Computer Science A, 10th grade AP Computer Science principle, and 10th grade he also competed in user code competition, and then 11 he continued to work on the user code and hackathon and also do a few research. Then he applied to college and become majoring in electrical engineering and computer science and a business major. Okay, so this one is his high school experience, and then he kind of get started in the college. So he worked on a lot of things. Okay, and what I would like to say is that he's a very high efficient person. Okay, so today we would like to have him to talk about how to boost up the efficiency of your study, okay, and how he handled the difficulty in high school and college in terms of studying computer science. And computer science is actually a very tiring, very high rejection major. Okay, it's a very difficult major, and a lot of people feel very frustrated. Okay, very frustrated. So being able to maintain high efficiency and also get yourself focused is very difficult. So that would be the topic he would actually talk about today, and also would welcome everybody's question. Okay, for parents, if you want to ask question in Chinese, is also okay. He understand it, and I can help to translate his answer back to Chinese. Okay, so that actually is also welcome. And let's get started. Okay, let's get started. So first, let me turn the control to Christopher. Okay, hi Christopher, you can get started.
Yeah, I can get started. Thanks for like the introduction and stuff. That was a lot of stuff. Yeah, I probably won't like take too much of everyone's time or anything, but just a quick like presentation. Yeah, so I'm Chris, little bit about me. I know my dad kind of introduced me already, but if you didn't know, yeah, I'm studying Econ Business at UC Berkeley. Some of the tech stuff that I'm kind of really interested in is in web development, some machine learning, as well as blockchain. And then some hobbies of mine include mixed martial arts. I did Taekwondo throughout high school, and I also really like food. So yeah, so talking about kind of like,
Yes. Any question?
sorry.
Question is welcome. Okay. Anytime you have question, you talk about is welcome. Okay. Don't worry. Just go ahead. Yeah, Christopher, you continue.
Okay, sure. So yeah, so for the agenda for today, kind of want to talk about some like the important factors, right, when it comes to kind of studying CS in both high school and college. Mostly, I'll just talk about kind of like what I learned throughout kind of college and how important kind of high school serves as a foundation towards college, basically. It's not just about getting into the college; it's really about kind of fostering some mindset where you kind of level yourself up, mentally speaking, to kind of tackle college overall. So yeah.
Let me interrupt a little bit here. Okay. So what Christopher bring up, the mindset is actually the most important part. I would say a person with a big heart and actually strong heart, high ambition, and trying to carry out whatever goal he want to do will be the number one. Okay. Number one thing is this. Number one thing is not setting up a goal like, okay, I must go to MIT or Stanford or Berkeley or Harvard. That's not the most important part. The most important part is that you must have a very strong heart. The strong heart that you are able to take the challenge, actually challenge yourself, and also willing to take the loss. Sometimes you lose and you will be able to bounce back. So he would like to talk about a mindset, and that I think is very important. So let me return to Christopher.
Yeah. Like you said, like the mindset is probably the most important thing, like when it comes to kind of studying overall, kind of yeah. So yeah, for when it comes to mindset, oh yeah, I'll have some like random pictures on the side. It's just different things that I've like kind of done and stuff, and I just put it on the side just kind of for fun, just to add some stuff on the side. Yeah, so I think the number one thing when it comes to your mindset, really understand like why you're doing what you're kind of like doing, because if you don't, if you're doing something that you don't want to do, then it's probably like you probably shouldn't be like kind of doing it, right? Like you should really be passionate about what you're doing. And when you have a reason for doing what you're doing, like for me, I want to do computer science because I really want to develop products, right? That's like the number one thing. Like I love developing products. I really want to create something that people will be really happy about when they use. Like it simplifies their lifestyle, right? If I can find my reason why, then I can study more because I want to be able to build like cool things. And yeah, I think that's the number one thing when it comes to that. This is really important, not just on like an abstract level of like, oh yeah, you should find like your reason why just because like you should. When it comes to like college applications as well, they really look for that as well. Like they really want to see that you're someone that's like really motivated, that everything you've done in the past kind of has like some reasoning, right? So it's really important both on an abstract and a like real like application level as well. Number two is really about trying. So now that you found your reason why, it's really important to kind of get out of your comfort zone in terms of like just trying things to to kind of accomplish your reason, right? So if I want to build cool products, then I have to kind of put myself out there to kind of learn the technologies that necessary to kind of accomplish that why, right? So some examples would be like if I want to build cool products, then I have to attend like hackathons, right, to learn like the tech stack. Or like if I really want to build cool products more in like the research side of things, a little bit more theoretical, I have to go out there and kind of study that part. So yeah, once you have first understand your reason why, then you can start like trying different things. And then number three is always having a growth mindset. So now that you're trying all these different things, sometimes you're not always going to kind of succeed, right? So a lot of times you'll actually probably like fail. Like that's just the truth of it. I failed like many times. I've competed at hackathons where I would attend. My team and I actually attended at one, like it would probably be 2 years ago, my team attended one where we completely like lost. Like we didn't even get close to winning, and we spent like a complete 24 hours where we coded this thing, and basically it was just a machine learning model, and then like we thought it was really cool, right? But no one could really use it because we never finished the interface of it. So yeah, we had to really learn how to develop the front end from that. So instead of kind of just saying like, oh, hackathons aren't for me, I wasted 24 hours of my life, it's more like, how can I get myself better to learn new technologies to kind of win, right? So it's really important to kind of embrace that kind of growth mindset when it comes to computer science, or actually anything in life in general. Like if you want to get better, you really have to understand that loss is really a huge part of kind of winning overall, right? Like you have to be able to lose and then kind of learn from that. So yeah, if I were to kind of sum this entire kind of section up, it's really number one, why are you doing like what you're doing? And if you're going to try things, always remember that even if you win, even if you lose, you have to make sure you're learning, because that's like the number one most important thing. And yeah, that's what those are some of the important stuff in mindset. I'll go ahead and hop over to test taking. I put my friend actually here. This is Bear from UC Berkeley. But yeah, this is my friend Junho. He's actually my roommate. I put him because he's really good at test taking. So yeah, the number one thing is definitely preparing early, because then you won't be like too stressed. But when it comes to like my routine with test taking, I think like this works for basically like any subject in general, specifically with like technical subjects. But yeah, the number one thing to do first is to, for me at least, is to go over every single like note or discussion possible when it comes to like some topic. So I guess when it comes to like physics and stuff, we had to do like thermodynamics, we had to do like electricity and magnetism. And the number one thing to do is first develop like a notes, like conceptual overview of every single topic in there. And then after you're done with that, kind of write down in a hierarchy, like a list of like all the topics that you're really bad at. So at the time I would be really bad at like, I would say like magnetism, right? So I would put magnetism first on my list, and then I would put like electricity next, and then I would put like thermo next, because I was just not that bad at that. But yeah, and then once you first develop your notes, then you develop like
okay, Christopher, let me interrupt you right here. Okay, you talk really fast, so
okay.
I'm kind of slowing down here. Okay, the purpose of slowing you down is that the parents and students, if they have questions, they can ask. So number one, you prepare for any test or any competition or any exam, you kind of need to study, right? And you need to study and you need to take note. When you take note, you must be able to envision or try to see the whatever the topic it is, and then write it down in your own note, okay, in your own note. And recent year, I do see a lot of students, they don't want to take note, okay. You must take your own note. The note is not something you copy from the textbook. Instead, it's your own thinking model, your own model, your own drawing, your own whatever equation you write down. That's your own note. Don't copy the equation from the textbook. That is not your own note. A note is something that you really study it, you actually summarize it, and you actually see something that you really see. So that's something, that is the best note. The best note is your own note, not the note that your teacher wrote or you copy from somewhere, from someone else. The note is your own thinking and your own flow of thinking. And also sometimes you can also present your note to your parents or your friends. And sometimes you can also tell the story to them so they can actually try to understand what you already learned. And also through the sharing of your information and your note, yourself will get better in terms of knowing the subject as well. Okay, let me return back to Christopher. Yes.
Yeah. I think you talked about like a really important point, which is like talking about like creating kind of your own notes beyond what the textbook kind of tells you, and basically teaching that to other people. I think at UC Berkeley, it's a technique called rubber ducky, where you basically talk to a rubber duck. It doesn't have to be a rubber duck, but basically, one of the things that's kind of one of the things that I like to do, where if there's like a topic that I'm kind of studying that, is definitely a little harder to understand, or like a problem that I'm thinking through, it's often a good idea to kind of think out loud, where you're actually like talking to yourself, to reason to yourself why it makes sense. Yeah, because it's honestly a really good idea to like just talk it out. And once you talk it out, sometimes you'll realize some of your reasoning might not be like that good sometimes, and then you can kind of correct that. So yeah. Yeah, so this routine honestly is a lot really based on just doing a bunch of like practice exams. I feel like that is generally the kind of skill set that you do when it comes to like high school and in like college in general. And the entire idea isn't like having to do like a ton of practice exams. I think it's really learning from these practice exams, where you're able to review these practice exams and really note down at kind of like a high level, like what are each of these practice exams trying to like test you on, and kind of write down the exact topic and the exact like topic, and then the technique that you're gonna have to use. So I can stop sharing real quick. I'm gonna switch to like kind of an example of how I kind of note this down and keep it like organized. Give me a second. Let me switch to 16. Yeah, so right now I'm just looking for like an example of how I kind of note this down. Yeah, okay. So here's like one example. So this is for my class for EX 16B. Yeah, for exam prep. Basically, what I like to do is I go through all the notes and discussions, and I write down exactly what I need to learn from those discussions. So like if I look back at this discussion, like I know the exact moves that I need to do to solve this question. Like if I see this question, I just have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I can solve it. And that's generally what I like to do for like all these different types of problems, where like I can develop like general steps to kind of understand everything. Because a lot of times during discussions, they like to talk about the theoretical stuff. So once you learn the theoretical, you want to be able to kind of transform that to some actual things that you can do. And then when you're studying kind of like your past exams, really important to try to like, to kind of write down the question types, like the exact type of questions. So if you notice here, I noticed that there's like multiple like proofs on like norms. Like here's a norm proof, here's a norm proof, here's a weighted minimum norm proof. So now I know norm proofs are very, very important, right? So in the future, like I would kind of like remember that. And also note down like any mistakes you make, because sometimes you like are able to make like the same mistake multiple times. So one example is like current direction is like important, right? So just like noting down everything is really important for retention. And then what I like to do is I like to keep all of them. I did not have time to finish this, but yeah, I like to keep all of them where I can like teach myself, right? So all of this isn't from like the exam or anything, or from the exam solutions. I like literally like teach myself like, hey, this first part is blah, blah, blah type of equation. And then like, you have to do this, you have to do this. So next time I see this question, I know exactly how to do it because I already taught myself how to do it, right? So that's the general
Okay,
idea.
Christopher, let me interrupt you right here, okay? So Christopher already talked about a black belt level, okay? Let me actually rewind him back to the yellow belt, green belt level, okay? So let me actually try to recall what we did, okay? So about the exam preparation, let's go back to the 10th grade when he's trying to do the Math 2, SAT Math 2, right? And I think that I'm the person forced him to take the practice in the very beginning, okay? So for the SAT Math 2, I kind of set up a schedule for him and then force him to do the practices. So there's a tons of practice, right? And then he started probably one whole set for 3 days, right? And then 10 questions starting very slow, right, Christopher, at that time. because
Yeah, it's pretty
they
slow.
started very slow. So at that time, he started very slow, and then one set of the SAT subject math 2 take him 3 days. And so every day he work on 20 problems, 15 problems, something like that. And then the first week, actually, I think he's very slow. And at that time, he cannot get everything correct, of course, right? But it's okay. You get started from there. But you must set up a practice schedule. And overall, we give him a somewhat like 3 months or 10 weeks practice for the SAT subject math 2. And then he start to get faster, maybe two days for a set, and then 1 day per set, and then 1 day 2 set, and then 1 day 3 set. He's get quicker and quicker when he approached the exam. So when he arrived at the exam day for the SAT subject math 2, he already got the efficiency that he need to do. So practice make perfect. That's the rule number 1. Okay. Rule number 1 is practice make perfect. So he actually passed the SAT subject math 2 800, and then 1 month later he take the chemistry, another 800, and then in the summer he started to study the honor physics by himself, and then with the Apex curriculum from online, and then for 2 months he finished it, and then he started to do the SAT physics. He also get 800 for it. So I think that through that practice, he already learned the skill of how to work on tons of practice exam and being efficient to take those exams. So he developed this kind of exam practice routine. And then I think since the middle of the junior year or something, he started to take tons of AP and then tons of the SAT subject as well. So I mean, a lot means tons of AP. Mean he actually took 7 AP in his junior year and 3 dual enrollment in high school, and also continue to compete in hackathon 6 or 7 times. Right? That actually is really a lot of work. But the basics is starting from very basic. You need to be able to handle the same. Any question?
I think they just forgot to mute.
Yeah, it's okay.
All good.
Any
Okay.
questions, welcome. Okay. And then today he talked about the topic study list and topic preparation for the practice exam. I think he learned even more right now in handling the Berkeley courses.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
So that what you look at is really already a black belt level exam practicing. Okay. And he also get the test bank from the past older exam test bank that Berkeley has. So kind of also need to find a resource as well. But what he actually present is that you actually need to list down the topic that you want to review. Okay. No matter you are taking SAT or you are taking SAT subject or AP, it's the same. It's the same. You set up your own practice schedule. Also, you list down your topic that you want to review per week and try to find a problem in that domain to do the practice. I think that's what he presented a moment ago. So what is the tool you are using for the organizing?
Yeah. So you can really use like any tool you kind of really want to use, but I use Notion.
Mhm.
Reason why I use Notion's a pretty like popular like productivity management tool. They have a lot of different like views for different things you're doing. They have like a table view, which is what you just saw. They have like calendar views. They have like, yeah, they just have a lot of different views. Very like flexible. So that's kind of why I use it.
Christopher, can you show it in the website?
Yeah.
Lead them to the website. Yes.
Give me a second. Actually, I can share like the. I think I might be able to share like a template of it, like the exact template. Give me a second. I just have to like build it real quick. Give me a second. Yeah. in the meantime, is there any like questions or anything or? Cool. Okay. Just bring this over. Okay, here, and then paste. Cool. Yeah, I'll go ahead and duplicate it and then I'll share it. But allow duplicate. Okay. Yeah, so I'll just put it in the Zoom. Should be able to access it, I think. Basically, it's the it's what I kind of just showed, but yeah.
Can you show it in screen? Share your desktop.
Yeah. I can go ahead and do that too. Give me a second. Okay. Here. Yeah. This is basically what I just showed, right? It's just like the tables that I used to study. That's it. Yeah.
So Notion is also where you take notes, right?
Yeah, I also take notes.
So can you talk about what is Notion? Some people may not know what's Notion. So Notion is a tool that you can create online and also create some sort of web page automatically, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's that's a very good summary of it. Yeah. Yeah, I can also put this in the chat as well. But yeah, I also take like my notes here as well. Actually, I've been increasingly like writing my notes like on iPad now. Like I used to write a lot on Notion, but
yeah, it's okay.
Not that much.
But you actually link your Notion also with the Google Calendar, right?
I use a different app for that. I use a Todoist app for that. Yeah. I don't have that much on my Google Calendar anymore though, because school's over.
Okay.
But I used to have like a lot of like recurring tasks, like certain like lectures and stuff. I would put it on like Todoist or like but yeah, Notion's a pretty good app for just like broad like product management.
So when you create a Notion page, you usually use an iPad to do it, right?
I usually or Notion's not that good for like iPad or like Notion's only good for like laptops or like desktops and stuff.
So you use that more, yeah.
Yeah, but when it comes to
yes, question.
When it comes to like taking notes and stuff, I usually do like use it on like Notability where I can like draw it out. Or yeah, I like drawing out my notes because I can like it's a bit more free, right?
Okay, any question? So he take note, and sometimes he has the schedule on Notion, and he also use an iPad to help him to take some notes sometimes, right? You write something, use a stylus pen to create, and some of the picture can also be shared with in here. Okay, then you can go back to your topic now. Yeah, just given the idea.
Yeah, I think in general, tools are at the end of the day here to like help you, right? So I think everyone will have like different tools that they like will like really enjoy, right? But at the end of the day, like they're only there to kind of accomplish like what you want to do, and if you're not there to do it, then it's not it won't happen, right? So yeah, always remember it all comes back to like the mindset. So yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about in test taking, or I can just
go over next one? Yeah, next one. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. So extracurriculars, I think we kind of talked about this, but I did mostly hackathons, research, and kind of clubs. So we can go back. We can first start with like hackathons. Yeah, I competed throughout like high school, and I also competed in CalHacks in kind of college. I think hackathons are probably the number one way to kind of learn about kind of coding in general and kind of getting into like the learning about the technologies, right? And pretty quickly and kind of applying them to see how you can.
How do you compare the hackathon with user code? Some student or parent may be interested in knowing the difference between user code competition and hackathon competition, and the kind of the practice or preparation needed, and also the benefit that you really learn from participating user code and hackathon. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say Yusuko and like hackathons are two completely like different things. So I can first talk about like Yusuko. Yusuko really emphasizes on like problem solving, right? Like algorithmic kind of thinking, which is very, very, very important for college, especially for like the exams that you kind of take. Like using that problem solving skills for like exams, as well as even like applying that for like internships and stuff where you have to solve like coding like challenges. Yusuko is very, very, very important.
Okay, so user code is very important because actually it is problem solving, right?
Yeah.
So, and then in high school you have the user code competition, so you kind of may move on to different division, right? That's the number one thing, and it can help your college application. And in college, you will still need to continue that effort because nowadays the interview, or most of them actually is based on LeetCode or some question that online. So even if you don't like coding, you don't like problem solving, nowadays everybody in computer science are forced to to kind of have to do it. Okay, otherwise you don't get internship, you don't get a job. Then the purpose of study in computer science is actually being defeated, right? So actually you don't want that to happen. So kind of, if people ask like, do you need to do it? Yes, of course. Why not? If you don't do it, you kind of have no purpose of studying CS because you are not going to get a job here. You're not going to get internship here. And then what's the purpose? Why bother you study so many coding and computer science program, right? So that actually is very important. So, but in terms of the topic, user code is more for problem solving. So it just primarily teach you the knowledge of how to solve a problem. But a problem is not a project. It's also not a product. So that is totally different from hackathon. Hackathon is to deliver a product, rapid prototyping of the product. That's called hackathon. So hackathon coming from a marathon that everybody know, right? So hackathon means that you hack for a long time, 2-3 days, keep coding, no sleep, or you bring your sleep back to your friend's home or school or the company, and you try to continue to do long coding. That's called hackathon. But hackathon primarily purpose is to do fast prototyping of product. So product is beyond only problem solving. It is actually including how you package the software, how you present the whole project to people, and also how you demonstrate the idea. So let me return back to Christopher about the hackathon now. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I do want to say like you don't have to enjoy a ton like either side. Like for me, I enjoyed hackathons a lot more than I enjoyed Yusako. It's just how, like, I don't know. I felt like hackathons were a lot more real and like practical. But like I think both skill sets, because they're so important, you really have to learn like both. Like even if you don't like it, you kind of still have to learn both. So yeah. When it comes to hackathons, I think my dad did kind of talk a little bit about it, but how it works is you basically compete for sometimes it's 24 hours, sometimes the entire weekend, and sometimes for an entire week. And yeah, you just build this project that basically solves some type of problem, and then after you finish completing it, you kind of pitch it to a lot of judges. And yeah, that's basically how a hackathon works. Do you want me to go into deeper detail or?
People may have the question of what kind of knowledge or skill I need to have to be able to participate hackathon or USACO.
Yeah, so I'll answer USACO first. It's a little easier. You just need to find like a programming language that you're really good at. I think you can compete in, or the main ones would be like Python, Java, or C++. And yeah, you just really have to understand the data structures that you're using when you're competing. And yeah, I think that's basically it for USACO. For hackathons though, there's actually so many different like technologies that you can learn, because like there's just so many things you can build with it as well, right? So when it comes to me, I think the most important ones are, I would kind of split it between like front end, back end, and then kind of like database stuff. So
yes, question. Any question?
I don't think.
Okay,
I
no
think
question. Okay.
I think it's a person who's like kind of unmuted, but yeah. Yeah, for front end, I think it's really important to learn first like the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, things like that. And then once you get a little better with that stuff, kind of learn React.js, which is one of the libraries you can use. I know there's several other ones like Vue or Angular, but React is probably the most intuitive, I would say. So that's front end. And then back end, you can either use like Python with building with Flask, or you can use kind of Node.js. I think a lot of people kind of tend to choose Node. And yeah, I think those are the two like main skills. When it comes to like database stuff, you can either choose like SQL databases like Postgres, or you can learn like Firebase, things like that. But those are a little like farther in the future. I would first worry about front end and back end, and that would be kind of React and kind of like Node.js. So JavaScript is very important when it comes to hackathons, because you're at the end of the day, you're like deploying something to the internet, right? So JavaScript is very important.
Yeah, but if a person, if you're a student, he finished AP Comsci principle, right? He learned some Python and some JavaScript, and then he kind of want to do hackathon, but he know that he will lose, right? So what should this guy be able to get started?
Yeah. Well, it'd be kind of sad to say that the person already knows they're gonna lose. But that kind of, I mean, my first time competing, I didn't think I was gonna win. Like so it's like really, really normal to have that feeling. Yeah, I think the very most important thing is kind of find a group of people that you really want to work with, and kind of treat it as a kind of like an event just to have fun. If you put a lot of pressure on yourself to win, you're probably gonna, it's like, yeah, you don't want to put too much pressure on yourself, basically. Like you want to just go in and kind of have the mindset that you're having fun with like friends and coding and stuff. And then that way you'll learn a lot more as well. So
is that very difficult to find people that you never learned before, some stranger to team up?
It's so the first time I competed, I actually went in like completely alone. I didn't have a team, and it was actually really easy to find like a group of people, because like some people also like go in alone, so you just like group up with them. And yeah, it's not like too hard. I think there's a list online you can probably search up, like Bay Area, like just high school hackathons, and you're basically able to like choose from that list. And yeah, you just have to go, basically. Yeah, is there anything else in hackathon?
Any question? And then you actually learn the IBM data science, right? And then the Coursera. So how much these online courses, tiny courses, really help you in terms of helping you in preparation of the hackathon. So I mean, online courses may help, right? You participate more competition, you may learn more skill, more tool like React.js or something. Something you look at other team, they win and they may have good tool. You may look at it, right? So what kind of the how do you accumulate your arsenal, your tool set, your weaponry?
Yeah. I think that's just like kind of answers or ties into kind of how kind of learning kind of works, right? Like once you learn like some technology, you can just like constantly like build on top of that, right? Like if I go and compete with a certain like website or something, I can like save that website that I just used and like kind of use that for like another idea, right? And yeah, to continue like learning these technologies, I think it's actually just like really fun in general to kind of see how you can add new technologies on top of what you're like doing already. And yeah, I think that's generally like a good idea where I start off with just like a basic like React kind of application. Then on top of that, I start adding like some like Stripe API, right? To like help with payments, or I add like Google Maps API to like help with like seeing like the location of like the user or something, right? Or any API on top of that. And it's generally a good idea is to have a good foundation and then start adding like stuff on top of that afterwards. So yeah.
Okay, and then next one, your topic.
Yeah. So next thing that I found like really helpful that I did in high school and how that transferred over to kind of college is research. So I think you talked about a little bit about kind of like the mini courses that I took, like the Coursera courses or like the IBM courses, right? I think that's actually where it helped me a lot with like research because it provided like a foundational knowledge of like different like machine learning like libraries, right? Like what will I see if I like see like machine learning, right? And yeah, that's how I got into kind of research. Yeah, so
Is that true that everybody go to summer camp? They want to do machine learning. Everybody is that
no,
no?
like when it comes to like research in like summer programs, not everyone actually does like machine learning like research. Some people do like biology, some people do like history, and you can still apply like comp sci to those areas as well. Some people do like machine learning. For me, I actually ended up choosing a project that had like nothing to do with machine learning. I worked on a project that had to do more with like quantum like materials, which kind of like accelerate like computing, right? And I thought it was just really cool because it was something I've like never seen before, and kind of going off of like just learning in general and having like that mindset where I really just wanted to learn things that I've never seen. That's why I kind of chose the project where I developed.
So topic wise, it's not really the most important part, right? In terms of research, marine biology or whatever, rocket science, whatever topic, as long as you can apply your knowledge on and you can form a study, you can tell a story, then that research is good, right?
Yeah.
But of course, you try to bring up the best of your stuff to put them into the research. But the topic actually is not the top concern. The top concern is your skill set, how much program you can do, how much research you can do, how can you organize a study, how can you tell a story, how can you further to write a good technical report. Those parts are more important, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely say so. Yeah, at the time I had no idea that I was gonna even like do kind of the or like I did not consider the research part as part of like the college application. So like for this like for some people they like applied and then like they chose a topic because they wanted to do it for like because it aligned with their story, which kind of does make sense. For me, I just chose a topic that I thought was like really cool. Which but it didn't like completely align with like the story of like my major and stuff because my major isn't like material science or anything, right? So yeah, it didn't tie in, but I think it all worked out at the end anyways. So what's really important is kind of like the research skills that you kind of get out of it. Yeah. So is there anything else you want to talk about or for
research about it, right? So
Yeah.
this is very important. Next one, you go to the club. Yeah.
Yeah, clubs. I think clubs are like really important in terms of just finding like a community. Especially in college, I think clubs will be like super duper important. But yeah, back in high school, I helped found like a data science club. The reason why I think clubs are really important is because you have to find people that are really kind of motivated and really want to work with you, because a lot of times, let's say you're like studying alone, like that's just really like not that like fun, right? Like if no one else next to you is like that motivated, it's gonna make you like less motivated as well. Like a lot of people say like you are kind of who your friends are, right? So if you can find a club that has people that are really motivated and really want to build technologies, then you'll probably want to also be part of that group of people. So yeah, clubs are kind of important. I would definitely like join one and definitely find a group of people that you really like and you really want to build things with. And basically that kind of ties into competing at hackathons where now you have a group of people. So yeah.
How to convince the ASB to approve it?
That I actually have a very funny story about how I got to convince ASB to approve it. But basically, in our school, we already had kind of like a robotics club, and then we kind of had like a computer science club as well. So data science, although it's like it's not a complete like completely like unrelated to these topics, right? So they were like, oh, we already have a lot of like STEM clubs already or something like that. Yeah, so when we went the day of, I actually told everyone to like just bring like dress shirts and stuff to look like really serious. And I think that might have made a difference. I don't know. It was just like something for fun. But it's really about just talking about kind of creating like a certain like niche in the club scene, I guess. And I just said like the difference is I analyzed all the clubs that were like doing things on campus. Like robotics was developing mostly like hardware stuff, right? And then computer science club, they were teaching mostly like APCS related things. I had a vision for something completely different. Like no one was attending hackathons and no one was building machine learning projects. And that was just something that wasn't being built on campus at the moment. And if you're able to explain like exactly what like the like campus is missing, they're probably like going to be fine. Like if you like start the club because they want you to address that gap. So if you're able to analyze basically what everyone else is doing and what they're missing and how you can fill that, then that's basically that basically allows you to get in basically. I think that kind of works for a lot of different things as well, like hackathons, right? If you want to win as well, you really want to be able to say like what's everyone else doing right now and what are you doing and how are you different, right? So
yeah. Another question, okay, you have these actual curriculum and you handle 7 AP in 11th grade and then maybe 6 hackathon and 8 ASDRP research, also clubs, and also Arizona State University's dual enrollment 3 courses in the 11th grade, and also the Whittier College course. How can you handle so many things in 1 year? Well, where did the time come from?
Yeah, so I would say I was like actually pretty fortunate when it comes to like the high school I went to. I think that actually plays a big role. So a lot of my when it comes to like my high school, like they didn't like give that much like homework or anything. It was like a super like tough high school, so I was able to complete everything like in school and stuff. So yeah, a lot of other time at home was actually really spent on like the extracurriculars and stuff like you mentioned. To like handle like that tough of a workload, I think it's a really a function of both like my effort level and like the system I was using, right? So and that kind of like increases over time. Like I always try to create like the best like system where I can like learn the fastest and like do everything in the shortest amount of time, which isn't like always the best, like, but it was really important at the time, right? To kind of handle that kind of course load. So that's kind of how I learned all these like different tools and stuff, is really came out of a necessity where you have to be able to handle like this kind of course load. So yeah, and you're only able to handle this course load if you have like the internal motivation in the first place as well. So I would say everything at the end of the day leads back to kind of your mindset, right? Like, where do you really want to be able to kind of do in kind of life? Like for me, I always found it like really, really important to kind of develop my technical skills. So for me, I never really treated it as like studying. I always found it as something where I was like learning a lot. And sometimes I think it's really important to focus more on kind of, I guess, the long-term like vision of what you really want to do, because once you put that in place, then you get a lot more motivated about what you're doing, because then you're kind of anchored on that and you have that vision that you really want to look forward to. And I think that's really, really what's important. Like I've talked about extracurriculars, I've talked about test taking, but I think I started this all off with the mindset, because that's what really sets like a person apart, I would say. So yeah.
And how usually in 11th grade, when do you went to bed? Usually every day.
Yeah, I think it's really important to sleep your 8 hours. So I think I went to sleep at like 12. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
You can double check me on that, but
yeah.
I'm pretty sure I slept at 12.
I think in 11th grade, you most of the time is around 11:30 to 12:30 maybe. Okay, so on the average is 12. But before like 10th grade, I think it's around 10:30 to 11, right?
Yeah.
So that's about the time actually Christopher go to bed. So it is not true that you need to work until 4 a.m. in the morning and you get that is literally not true. Okay. So what I want to say is that actually not true, and you can only overburden your kids or yourself. Okay. So that I don't think that would help at all. So you must have a very actually calm and very bright mind when you go to study or do anything. So kind of focus is very important. Being very efficient is very important. And efficiency comes from practice. You don't practice, you never gain the efficiency. That's very important, right? And you study the SAT Math 2 3 day for the first set. That actually very common. When you get started, everything is slow. And then when you want to have higher speed, you need to do a lot of practice until you can enjoy the higher speed you have. And once you got a speed, then your efficiency go up. You can handle more things in shorter time. And that's why I think on the average, in the high school, the latest time that he went to bed probably is 12:30 or something. But on the average, I would say 11th grade, he went to bed roughly around 12. Okay, on the average. Yeah, that's about right. About right.
I think sleeping is like really, really important. If you're not sleeping, you're not going to be doing any work like productively.
Okay.
So like retention is if your information really comes from the sleep as well. I kind of linked this article. It's about like deep work. Something that like a lot of people say is like your brain can only handle of around like 4 hours of actual like isolated complete work. So if you're doing like more than that, it's going to be really tiring and you're going to be burning out really fast. So I would definitely suggest like handling like mental stress and like burnout, because like that often happens. And if that happens,
can you comment on your how you handle the Berkeley high toxical course?
Yeah. So to kind of like handle that, I would say, how do I handle that? I think it kind of ties back to kind of the mindset. I think I actually handled it better like this semester than last semester. Last semester I had I would say more amount of stress last semester because I was really focused on getting like a 4.0. I was like dead set on getting a 4.0 because I was like I have to start off like college like correctly and stuff. So that's where I think most of the stress really comes from, like just that. So in order to like not have that, like this semester I told myself like I didn't have to like perform like that well. like I had to focus more on like the learning aspect instead of like the grades, right? Because at the end of the day, if you don't enjoy like learning, then the grades won't follow.
Yeah. So when you focus on 4.0, you lose the fun, and then you
yeah,
lose focus, and you kind of have more stress, right?
yeah,
So actually not trying to focus on 4.0, trying to focus on having fun in the study you had, right?
yeah. I
That's
would
how
definitely say
you,
that's really
and
important.
then you apply your 4 hour rule. Can you comment that again? Your 4 hour
Oh,
hour rules.
yeah. So last semester I found out I was like basically studying like the entire day. Like, and the thing is, I realized it wasn't that efficient because like what would happen is like I would eat like a huge dinner and I would come back and be like really, really tired. And like the work being done after that wasn't like the best either. So for me, I think the best idea was to kind of like block out certain times where I study and certain times where I just stop studying because um yeah, you don't want to mix the two too much. So this semester, my new strategy was I would wake up at like 8 a.m., like really, really early. And then I would just work like all the way, work like in the morning, like a huge block of like 3 to 4 hours, eat lunch, and then work another block. And after I'm done with my block of time, like I literally get off at 5 and I stop working. Because if I continue working, my brain is gonna like become like way too tired. I'm gonna burn out, right? So to kind of stop that from happening, I do more social things. So I would like go out with like my club, right? Or I would go kind of go out with my club, go out with my roommates, or like talk with like different people. And I think that was really, really important.
Yeah. But in the 4 hour that you are deeply focused,
Yeah.
can you watch YouTube?
No, that's not how
Can
it works.
you actually talk to friend with Facebook?
Yeah. So to like stop that from like happening, what I like to do is like I just put my phone like down like this. Like that's literally all I have to do. I put it behind my laptop. I just put my phone behind my laptop so I can't even see it. And then yeah,
Mute
I just
everything. Mute
uh,
everything.
yeah, you just have to mute everything. and
Mute
then
everything.
you just work.
So that 4 hour is like specially dedicated for study, and nothing else can come in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um
And
I
then
like I like waking up like that early because no one really wakes up that early. So everyone else is still sleeping while you're working.
Okay, but when you actually try to increase the number of hours for study, actually the performance drop
Yeah,
because you
I
are
would say
tired.
so. Yeah,
Because you are tired, right?
exactly.
And you are actually taking 20 units, not only 16 or 12 that the average people in Berkeley are taking, right?
Yeah.
So basically, the amount of work is not a problem. The how much time you need to do it actually is also not a problem. It's really the level of focus and intensity that you put into the study. That's more important.
Mhm.
And you really want to get the highest result, highest performance over the time that you actually spend, instead of trying to do quantity work.
Mhm.
Yeah, to burn out yourself and then make yourself so tired that you cannot do anything else, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that part is very important. That actually is something we learned. So now, actually, you can move on to the next topic. Okay, you can move on to the next topic.
Oh, I think that was my last topic.
That's your last topic. So
Yeah,
now
that
that's open for question. Actually, everybody can ask some question right now. Okay, anybody has question? Welcome. Okay, any kind of question? Yeah, go ahead.
When you took your AP classes, like first of all, how did you choose which ones you wanted to do? Like what made you decide I'm gonna take this one over this one? And then how did you fit that into your school schedule?
mhm. Yeah. Um, so are you talking about like APs outside of like the high school
Outside the
schedule?
high school, yeah, outside of school, yes.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
inside and outside of school. Like how did you choose that?
Okay. When it comes to that, I would definitely say it really comes to like what's important in terms of like math, physics, and CS. I think those are like the three fields. I think my dad talks a lot about this, but yeah, I think those are really important. And then a lot of times it really depends on what your school kind of offers. Like for me, for like the other stuff, it really depends on what your school offers. Like US history, it was what my school offered, and then like AP Euro is what my school offered. We didn't have world history, so that was kind of why I didn't take that. So when it comes to APs, I think when I took it at the time, like the general rule was to take as many as you can. I don't know if that's still a thing, but that's generally the rule of thumb.
Almost everything your school can offer, right?
Yeah.
But in a way that let me comment in from a parent's point of view is like the number one thing still be your own personal goal. Like what kind of college you want to go to and what kind of program you will apply to, right? That's actually your AP coursework should kind of support your eventual goal, right? So if your goal is doing medical school, maybe AP Bio or AP Chemistry that help more, right? Your research doing in that domain also help more, right?
Mhm.
But initially in the 9th grade and 10th grade, I believe is something that you kind of, because usually in the 9th grade or 10th grade, the school do not allow you to take too many AP or even no AP in 9th grade, right? That's a typical case for high school. So at that time, you would like to pick the topic or pick the AP that actually doesn't need your school's course. Usually AP Chinese, for example, that's a great example. Like, okay, you speak Chinese at home and you go to weekend Chinese school, and those are good candidate for you to pick because you are not going to learn Chinese better from your high school than the weekend Chinese school. So pick that as an example. That is some sort of the subject that you need to pick in your 9th grade or 10th grade, right? Usually subject that not given by your high school, but you do have a resource taking it online or taking it from your community that you can actually do it, right? And you work on those subjects first, because if you don't do those subjects, you keep them until 11th and 12th grade. At that time, your high school allowed you to take more subjects. And then those subjects, say AP Chinese, taking up one more AP for you. You don't want to do that, right? Then you waste one slot for AP slot. And the guideline is like, okay, still be taking as many as possible because the competition. Because of competition, you kind of have no choice of which one you should pick or which one you cannot pick. But another guideline is that you take as many as you can survive, right? You don't want to ruin your own GPA and your AP score as well. So if you really don't think that you can be successful in there, you probably try not to get into trouble, right? But under this different guideline, you can pick as many as you can, as many as your school or online or whatever school can offer. But one thing I do see that actually good for Christopher is number one, he not picky. Okay, whatever given to him, he will actually try to accomplish it. That's one thing that actually he be successful. Second thing that he's very successful is that I don't tell him, but I force him to do the Arizona State University's all math courses that actually cover whatever we took in National Taiwan University's first years and second year college math. And he tried to finish everything. So I think that is actually a good benefit for him, because when he finished high school, he already been as good as anybody who actually finished 2 years in Taiwan University's computer science program. So that is a good plus, right, Christopher? Is that right? That
Yeah,
also
I would
is,
say, yeah.
that also is your largest asset, that you can actually take those machine learning courses, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that math, you cannot handle the gradient descent optimization from machine learning. You don't know what is actually optimization problem. You don't know what is vector space, what is multiple tuple vector space, and what is the data science that you actually would do, right? So those math courses are your your asset, that your chips when you go to casino, right? You gamble. You don't have the chip. Whoever had a bigger pile of the chip going to casino, right? You always have a better chance to win, right? Because you can all in. You all in. You can kill a lot of people because you have more chip. Some people doing the World Series for poker, they have very few chips. Then they have to gamble very carefully. I cannot lose this time. I cannot lose this time. So they cannot afford all-in moments, right? So some people who have more asset, more chips, they go to casino. They can gamble every time. Their 10% can kill you. That's the problem, right? That's a problem. So accumulating more asset, more arsenal, more weaponry in your backpack, that is the rule. And if you try not to get as many, gradually you lose the competition, you lose inch by inch, one after another. If you actually gain, you have more advantage, you have more weapon, you kind of winning at the speed of the winning and the losing are actually accelerate over the time, right, Christopher? Is that right? So one thing that you actually one of your big asset is the Arizona State University, the math course. And also your Foothill College is a C double plus series course. Those are very beneficial, right? But some people may say, well, why do I need to take the course from Arizona State? It's a dumb school, right? I would rather take it from Stanford or from MIT or from Harvard. That actually is not true. You just need to have good teacher, good material, good things that keep your nutrition right? And number one, your dad doesn't have the money to pay for it. Very sorry for it. So we don't go for Stanford Online, right? That's actually, we have resource limitation. Or maybe another way to say is I don't want to spend that money. That's another way to say it. But that actually is actually very important that you accumulate your chips, your asset early in the game. So when you gamble, your chip pile is bigger than other people. When people call all in, you have the chip to support you, right? And if your pile of the chip is small, every gamble is your whole life that you are in big trouble, right? Okay, any other question?
I have another one.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when you were in high school, did you feel that you had to like sacrifice something else, like maybe like if you were in athletics or maybe if you played an instrument or something, did you feel that you needed to just solely focus on your academic studies at any point, or like especially in the last few years as you know your workload would ramp up, or do you feel that you could still maintain everything as a whole?
Yeah, no, there's definitely trade-offs to this. I used to do like taekwondo like pretty competitively. Like as you can see, so I think my peak was probably more in like middle school, and then once I got into high school, yeah, I couldn't like compete like that much anymore.
Writing down, right? Writing
yeah,
down.
I think that's just how it kind of like works, right? There's certain like trade-offs that you have to make, and I asked myself like, what do I value more? And I would definitely say my education is more important than like taekwondo. Like taekwondo is important to me to the extent that I can learn about like martial arts, and I can learn like remain like fit, and yeah, that's kind of like the utility I kind of find from that. So yeah, there are certain trade-offs that you have to make. I would definitely say, yeah.
Yeah, but basically what I can comment on is actually Christopher's prime time, I would say, is eighth grade and ninth grade. Okay, ninth grade he still compete and he won state champion, right? He make the state team and also being the third place nationally in AAU, right? AAU is a national organization. But 10th grade he got a presidential cup, Pan Am champion, gold medal, right? And also a few state level, smaller competition. But we know that our purpose is get a medal and go home, right? And he still gets some Arizona State's gold medal, Oregon State. We try to not touch in California State anymore. We know that the efficiency is not high because you get more medal, but you need to practice like a dog. That's not something you can afford because your main focus now go back to AP. He has a 4 AP in 10th grade, AP chemistry, AP European history, AP Spanish, and also AP Chinese, right? So 10th grade, he already loaded with a lot of activity, academic activity. So we try to give him kind of enough competition to keep his resume going, right, growing, right? But 11th grade, I would say zero activity in Taekwondo, right? 11th grade, we actually say zero. But in terms of college application, we don't say zero. We say that we still keep doing, right? Because kicking target is nothing wrong. It's also still being part of the Taekwondo. We just don't have medal. That's it. But actually, we still plan to get those tiny, small state medal. Just not lucky because his 11th grade, the COVID-19 happened. So we plan to travel to compete, but they're no longer there. But in addition to that, he still has his third degree of black belt at that time, good enough for college application. He still write down his practice Taekwondo for 4 years in high school, right? We are not cheating because he's still kicking target, he still practice, but no medal in 11th grade. So winding down is what time to wind down is very important because you cannot be 100% in 11th grade. You cannot be 100% in 10th grade. So slowly winding down is very important. But okay, it's a trade-off. Some students, they want to use athletic performance to make college. So they need to know about Division 1 or Division 3 so they can actually match the requirement for the Division 1, Division 3 recruit. That's a totally different story. If a student whose mindset is that, okay, I'm going to try to make MIT because I have a Division 3 fencing. We do see some students use a fencing to make MIT, yes. Is that okay? That's okay. You practice the amount of the work that support your application to MIT, that's good enough, okay? But if you like practicing like 100%, like you will try to get Olympic gold medal, is that worthy? You have to judge yourself whether you really use that as your main competition thing or not. Okay, you may gamble and win, and you may gamble and lose. And for our experience is that try not to, because Christopher's main major is computer science, right? I don't think there's a gold medal, Olympic gold medal, also doing a lot of computer science practice, and he can do both and move on to Berkeley or MIT or Stanford doing computer science. I think that those people who actually doing those athletic work usually are doing marketing, business, or some liberal arts. That's actually more likely. For high intensity major like computer science, even without those sports, it's already very, very, very difficult. Not to mention that you still want to use try to do a Division 1 NCAA competition. I think there may be some people who can handle it, but not too many, I would say. Any more questions? Rachel, do you have a question?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Christopher, do you participate, and maybe you already say it, but do you participate in a USA computer competition? Do you finish the
USACA?
USACO, yeah, USACO.
Yeah.
Go ahead, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I competed in USACA until I got into like gold division. Yeah.
Yeah,
can you talk about a little bit, give a little bit experiences?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think USACA was really fun in terms of like the algorithmic programming, like kind of mindset type of idea. I think it was really fun with like the data structures and what you learn in that aspect. I would say I found like hackathons a little bit more fun, where I got to kind of extend that to actually create like certain like applications. But those are like two different like fields, right? But USACA is very, very important, I would say, in like for like building towards like college, because
Mhm.
now I'm applying for like internships and stuff, and like you have to take like coding exams, right? And a lot of it comes from the USACO knowledge you kind of know. So
Yeah.
Oh.
that's very important.
Okay, let me comment in this way. Okay, if your student is international Olympia IOI, okay, Olympia for informatics, that actually is beyond USACO. If your student actually is top 3, okay, gold medal or bronze medal or something like that, or you make team in the USACO, your chance to go to MIT or Stanford is higher. Okay, I cannot say 100% true that you will be admitted, but usually IOI gold medal you can be automatically being admitted to MIT, but not 100%. Okay, maybe 80, 90%. That's the first thing. But if you only have platinum, it's as good as gold. I don't see that platinum is any better than gold or silver. Platinum or below that, I think doesn't help too much. But the main benefit for USACO is not the division that you have platinum or gold or silver. It is your capability. The capability you actually have will help you in terms of finding the internship in college. So usually we do see those students who compete in USACO Platinum doing better in interview, right, Christopher? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we do see that, okay? But in terms of college application, gold or silver or platinum, I don't think that college will pick you just because you have platinum. We do see some students who have platinum but still cannot go to top university, right? So that's not true that USACO can help you to do that. But if you have IOI gold medal, sorry, I think that's totally different level. They will be invited to some of the elite school like MIT, Stanford, or Harvard somewhere, right? But you need to be international level, not really just USACO gold or silver or platinum. Is that okay?
Yes.
So in terms of efficiency, why I told him to stop in 11th grade in USACO? That's because, wait, this guy has 3 dual enrollment, 7 AP, and then okay, I'm sorry, he's a dual enrollment in 11th grade, maybe 6 or 7. So many classes, and he's still competing in hackathon and research. And we do really have that much time to focus only on USACO from the game theory, okay, from the gambling point of view. We don't pile up so many a chip in one bag. We may lose. So we choose not to do just that event. We try to choose more event. Is that okay? But that's a choice.
Yeah.
That's a choice. That's actually, in terms of gambling, that's a choice. I cannot say that our strategy is the best, but that's our strategy. That you can gamble. Say in another way, maybe this guy Christopher, he actually doing 100% on USACO, and he do make the USA team, and you go to the competition, right? At that time, he also do useful, right, Christopher?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he also do useful. So if one of the useful or USACO event, he make the team in USA, and he may go to Stanford or maybe go to MIT or maybe go to some other school he really like. But he may doing his other activity, right? So that actually is a trail. We cannot say that you pick this path will be better or that path will be better. We can only say that after the college application, we do find his way maybe the best fit is this program, MET program, because he have hackathon, he have research, he have club leadership, he also have the DECA competition, right? DECA competition. Christopher, can you comment about DECA? Because I think that Jackie's son like to go to business school maybe someday. Can you comment on DECA activity?
I just think DECA, if you're doing business, DECA is probably the most important like activity you could do. Yeah, DECA's very, very important. I competed in a category called startup like business plan, or yeah, business startup business plan. And yeah, for that it was just like a mock kind of business plan for like startups, like kind of analyzing kind of your market, analyzing like what product you're creating, things like that. But that was just my category. But I think DECA is really, really fun for like as a club, as well as kind of what you do. I think it's pretty related to like business. So yeah.
How about finance? You finance. You
Um
competed in finance as
oh
well.
yeah. That was like another category I competed in, finance. But for DECA, the different categories for like finance, like marketing, things like that, they're all kind of like case studies. So what you would do as a consultant at like, I don't know, like McKinsey or something like that. So it kind of builds more of your communication skill set, which I think is very important as well. So yeah, I think DECA might also be very important for like engineers as well, I would say, to a certain extent, because you develop kind of your ability to kind of talk, right, and communicate, because that's very important.
Presenting, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's presenting very important in terms of people who do X or computer science.
I would say that
Okay.
most of the people in EECS are not that good at presenting, but if you are good at presenting, you definitely stand out, because being able to explain things and being able to kind of present is very important, right? For like education, very important for like projects and stuff. People really want to know what you're talking about, and if they don't know what you're talking about, then it would not be good.
So do you go any of this debate classes or presentation classes to prepare yourself?
I actually didn't take any classes for it. I think for me, I just practiced by kind of, number one, I would just like look at YouTube videos of other people talking and kind of learn like how they're talking. And number two, I think it comes from a lot of practice. Like the only way you learn how to talk is definitely just through talking, right? So competing at hackathons was huge for me, I think, to learn how to like pitch, right? But in general, just talking to other people and being able to like learn, right? Conversations is very crucial as well.
Hackathon also need to do presentation. That's one thing that you will learn in hackathon as well. Yeah. So usually the hackathon and DECA presentation, these are very good activity. So when Christopher started the ninth grade, at that time we don't think that much. We just want him to make the Berkeley computer science. So in terms of also related to time, right? We don't have that much time, so we do not send him to the debate team or debate club or something like that. At that moment, we don't have that much time, so it's a choice as well, right? You can spend time in there, and you may take some time off from your math or computer science, right? And in 10th grade, we kind of, hey, we are doing better. Let's do user code and useful. So the goal move on to X, right? Like Christopher, right? So at that time, we started to think about, hey, let's apply for Berkeley X at least, right? And in the summer of 11th grade, we changed our mind. Now let's play bigger. Let's play ABT now. So at that time, I told him, you take macro and micro economy from ASU Arizona State, and also participate more in DECA event, right? And it actually work out. It actually work out in that way. So we don't take MET as our first goal. That's not our first goal. When he's in the ninth grade, we only think about making computer science department in Berkeley. We are so happy. And 10th grade, we kind of upgrade ourselves. Hey, now we are better now. We already have 5 AP, because he's a ninth grade, he has 1 AP, 10th grade 4 AP. So now we are a little bit better. Let's play bigger. So we change our goal to X in Berkeley. So because of the X, then I told him, hey, your SAT subject physics must be 800, right? You must participate user code. So we go to the Dr. Tan's school in Fremont for the user for training. So that actually also helped him in college, right, Christopher?
Like physics?
Yeah, physics. Yeah, talk about
Yeah.
physics study.
I think that physics study was like really helpful. I think mostly from number one, I would say the problem solving like skills that I learned from the class, like taking like certain like edge cases or like certain like visualization techniques, I think was pretty helpful. And number two, like the people I met there, like everyone was like very, very motivated. And I think seeing that motivated me even more. So yeah, I think it's
How many people from that 10th academy go to Berkeley East?
I actually don't know. I actually
How
don't know.
many? How many you know at least?
How many do I know that go to Berkeley?
Yeah, or MIT or Stanford.
I think they actually mostly go to like MIT or Stanford.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah. Yeah, I don't know any like Berkeley Eeks off the top of my head right now, actually.
Any other question? Okay, how about Rachel? You have any question about your college? Rachel, hear me? Okay. How about anybody still have question? Okay, if no question, can we stop here? Okay, thank you very much for everyone to
Thank you,
participate in this
Christopher.
activity. Okay.
Yeah, no
Thank
problem.
you. I will send out the video after this. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. If you
Thank
still
you.
have questions, you still can ask later through me or contact Christopher. Okay. Please, thank you very
Okay.
much. Okay.
All right, thank you guys.
Christopher.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.